Joining us now is Oklahoma Senator James Lankford, who's a member of the Senate Homeland Security Committee. Senator, thanks so much for joining us tonight. You're among a bipartisan group of senators demanding the Biden administration provide a full account of weapons sent to Ukraine and what's left in the stockpile. So tell us about the recent letter you sent to the administration.
Yeah, there's a big difference between it's in the mail and it's actually arrived. And right now the Biden administration keeps saying we sent it, or they'll say things like it's in transit, or we've already started it, or even in the clip that you just played, it just took us 4 days to get it started to be able to get there. The people of Ukraine are saying, hey, if you're going to help us fight this, actually, by sending us some of those supplies, actually have them get here. Don't just talk about how to logistics to be able to get them over. Get them here. That's what we really need. They're trying to fight to defend their country from a Russian onslaught. They don't want excuses that it's in the mail. They want it to actually be received.
Right. And look, you guys agree with senators on both sides of the political aisle, but the Pentagon spokesperson absolutely disagrees. John Kirby says those shipments were moving within the first 4 days of the war. Senator, so what's the real story here? Is the administration slow walking this? Yeah. Or are they actually delivering the weapons needed to Ukraine?
Yeah, again, I go back to they're moving within 4 days is very different than they were received within 4 days. The people of Ukraine don't need to know that it's on its way. They just need to know when it's going to be delivered. And all these different munitions they keep talking about in these different weapon systems, it always seems to be the plan. Now, there are items that have been delivered to them. It's very helpful. The Ukrainian leadership's very, very appreciative to it. They're just saying, hey, you keep promising us other shipments are going to arrive. They just need to be able to get here.
Senator, moving on to another geopolitical foe of the United States, China. They're accusing the United States of instigating the war in Ukraine and says NATO should have been disbanded following the breakup of the Soviet Union. China's foreign ministry spokesperson says, quote, the culprit and leading instigator of the Ukraine crisis, the U.S., has led NATO to engage in 5 rounds of eastward expansion in the last 2 decades after 1999. So China stands to gain a whole lot from this conflict, regardless of who wins. So, Senator, how does China's meddling in all this affect the eventual outcome?
Yeah, China is basically saying if there's no NATO, then Russia could do whatever they want. That's the reason we have a NATO, is to be able to keep Russia from running all over Europe. The European gathering there in the NATO alliance is all about keeping the Russians from actually moving and rolling over their neighbors. So, again, for China to say, hey, if there's no NATO, there'd be no problem. Basically, he's saying then Russia could just do whatever they want. The big winners in this long term they're trying to be able to shape are Russia, Iran, and China. Those are clearly the opponents of the civilized world to be able to actually engage in, that actually want peace in the region.
I'm so glad you brought up Iran. Look, the Trump administration was able to make peace deals in the Middle East in large part because it rallied the region around the idea of stopping Iran, which, of course, was a common enemy. And now the Saudis won't even take a call from President Biden because he's burnt the bridge by negotiating with the world's largest state sponsor of terror. So that's forced Saudi Arabia into the arms of China. So how dangerous is that for the future of this country?
Yeah, exceptionally dangerous. We need to have peace in the Middle East. And again, President Trump over and over again said that he's going to do peace negotiations a very different way. The Abraham Accords were a very different way to be able to take on peace. When he actually engaged with other nations and formed the Abraham Accords, John Kerry had said there's no way to do it. Others had said there's no way to do it. But Trump actually got that done. And when we got it done, you've got 5 nations in that region that are actually forming peace agreements: UAE, Bahrain, Sudan, Morocco, and Israel. They're all looking for that unity on it. Now, amazingly enough, President Biden is actually working with Russia while Russia is bombing Ukraine. President Biden's working with Russia to then for Russia to be our lead negotiator with Iran. I can't make this stuff up. It's just so bizarre that our State Department would use as a proxy Russia to negotiate with Iran a new nuclear deal. It's a terrible idea.
Absolutely. And if the reports are true, of course, he's giving away the store, really putting America in danger. But the last question here has to be about the southern border, Senator. President Biden is about to rescind the Trump-era Title 42 policy, which, of course, allowed America to expel illegal immigrants at our southern border because of COVID. Estimates show this will mean at least 18,000 immigrants at our southern border every day. This administration never talks about how they're going to fix it. They only talk about how to prepare to handle it. So is there anything the Republican senators can do to stop this?
Yeah, we're actually pushing it. The interesting thing is they were going to lift Title 42 yesterday, actually. Their deadline to actually do it was by March the 31st. We've been pushing and pushing. I've been on the floor of the Senate multiple days. We've had press conferences. I've been back and forth on phone calls with the administration. They've moved that date from yesterday to now May the 23rd. So we've won another 2 months on it. It's showing the transparency of the chaos that they're about to be able to bring to the nation. They estimate in their own numbers that they lift Title 42, they're going to have 1 million people illegally cross the border within 6 weeks. So in the strangest of all strange here, they're saying the pandemic is over in Mexico, but literally as of yesterday, they were still firing members of the National Guard that hadn't got their COVID vaccine. We're still wearing masks on planes, but they're saying the pandemic's over on the border. It's absurd. They're using this to be able to promote their open borders perspective that they have. We need to continue just as American people to push back on this, just like we did when we stopped them with a $450,000 payment they wanted to be able to give to people who illegally crossed the border during the Trump administration. Right. We raised enough stink and we got that stopped. We need to do the same thing with this.
Amazing insight. Thanks so much, Senator James Lankford. We really appreciate your time tonight.